I have a book in me. This is my friend, my brother.
Thank you, Kelly and Oliver.
I'm a multi-award winning best-selling author.
If you want to start a new business, I suggest you write the book on it.
God woke me up at 2:30 in the morning and I wrote a book.
Some of you got books already. Some of you got novels already.
The lead generator is the book.
You write a book, you leave a legacy to your children.
And I hope you guys listen to these guys so they know what they're talking about.
What's up, everybody? I'm the publisher, Mr. Kelly Cole.
I'm the writing coach, Dr. Oliver T. Reid, the relationship architect.
Welcome to Books-N-Brothas podcast.
Books.
How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm doing good. You know, weather and storm, literally. It's been storms all day, knocking stuff out, knocking Wi-Fi out, knocking conference calls out. But we here. We're doing it.
For sure. Yeah, same, man. I've been getting a lot done today. Been grinding it out. But yeah, man, just making it happen. No storm here, but making it happen, making it do what it do, man. I think we got an exciting topic tonight. And what's crazy about it, I was actually researching and doing some stuff on this topic today, and I just happened to think like, yo, this is what bro want to talk about tonight. So I think it's dope, man. So what made you come up with this topic? And the topic tonight is how to create book titles that stand out and drive sales. So what made you come up with that title?
Yeah, because I think a lot of people just start writing, but I think it was a self-reflection. I always start with a title, a topic.
Mm-hmm.
Then I can write about it. Where some people was, just say they just start writing and then I get it people all the time. I don't know if you get it, Kelly, where they come to us and be like, I've written my book. I don't know what to call it. I've been working on something. I don't know what to call it.
Right.
And to me, an idea always pops in my mind first of what the title is. Then I can write about it.
Gotcha.
So that's what kind of spawned me to talk about that topic.
I kind of do both. A lot of my early books, the title didn't come till later on. You know what I mean? And then as I've, increased and have been doing this thing more, the title, like you, I had the title first and then I actually write. But to be honest with you, several of my books, the title has changed 2 or 3 times. So I think that that's a good thing, a good way to start. I'll throw out the first one. Don't be afraid of changing the title. So like if you start with a title and then by the end of the book, sometimes your book end up going in a whole different direction than you thought. And it's okay to change the title. And it's okay to get feedback on the title. So if you got some people who can give you some feedback on the title, there's nothing wrong with that. And don't be afraid of, like I said, don't be afraid of changing the title a couple of times because that has happened to me as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because a lot of times with me, I'll piggyback on what you just said. A lot of times I will have a title and I have changed it a couple times. And I've also realized that maybe this might not be the title of my book, but it is a dope or a hot chapter title.
Yeah, yep.
And so I may move sometime my title to a chapter in the book.
Yeah, dope.
My second point first point goes with that too, is that really your title is amazing, but I think what really makes titles pop is a subtitle.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm learning to do is that your title can be simple.
Mm-hmm.
It could be very basic or generic, but what really drives people to picking up your book is the subtitle. It's one way to say, hey, I always tell people, I use this example, it's one way to say, hey, I grew up and it was cold in my house. It's another way to say, it was cold as my grandmother's ice box with frost on the top. It makes you want to visualize it and like, oh yeah, my mom had that same problem in her refrigerator. So you identify and bring people to the subtitle. So I would say my first point is your title is good, but also your subtitles, I think, even equal or greater, in my opinion.
Dope. I agree 100%. This is one of the things that I was thinking about today. So when I talk about the title, right? I think about the title should like almost shock you. And like you said, it could be simple, but it should shock you and get the attention. The subtitle should tell the reader what's in it for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's dope. I like that.
So for instance, I always use now I use this formula for creating subtitles. Kind of. All right. It just depends on what type of book that you're writing. All right. Now, if you're writing entrepreneur book or you're writing a marketing book or a book to use as a marketing tool to share your expertise. This is a formula that you can use as far as writing a subtitle, right? All right, how to blank even if blank, okay? So to give you an example, how to write a book even if you hate writing.
Yep.
That tells you what's in it for you, right?
Yep.
All right, here's another one, how to blank without blank, okay? How to write a book without writing a single word. So you see how that works? So using that into, in a way of it, basically your subtitle should tell the reader or someone who's going to read the book what's in it for them. Now, if you're writing a different type of book, like Doc said, the subtitle should be the thing that pulls them in and make them pick up the book. So, yep, I agree.
I love it, man. I love it. And did y'all catch the how to, even if, y'all better catch that. That was fire.
Yeah. How to blank even if blank. So how to write a book even if you hate writing.
I love it. So basically, I like the part you said that draws people to it. And I always say that with my second point, you have to trick your book, right? You have to trick your book. There's, you hear me say this like a broken record a lot of times. There's millions, thousands, hundreds, whatever. I don't know the averages of how many books are produced in the world every single day or every single year or every single month. What separates you is the subtitle. And so when I say trick your book, be able to separate it. That degree of separation just in your subtitle or in your title it speaks volumes. I mean, one time I was writing a devotional, and I could have just said your average day-to-day journal, and that would have been okay. But when I started at the time, Kelly, GPSs were hot, so I said, okay, man, let's do a spiritual GPS, because that was one of the time when they were really, really hitting. Everybody would be getting a different Tom GPS or whatever GPS, on the watches. So I said, hey, why not call this book Spiritual GPS, and then play on words, God Promised Solutions.
Yeah.
So what that did is got the spiritual people in there, but then the techie people were looking at the book because it was a play on words. So when they picked it up, they were like, oh, I got it. And it drove the point home. So how to trick your book is, I would say, tricking it, which means that I remember watching, musicians, magicians as well, when they're on stage. I was just fascinated, how did they take this one thing and then it disappeared and it left me in suspense. So you want to let people feel like in a couple seconds that they read that title that I got to get this book, something about this title.
Yeah, dope. All right. Yeah. So piggybacking off of what you said, my next one is, think about, just like you did, like you said, GPS were hot at the time when you wrote Spiritual GPS. Like, think about what's current and what's in the news and what are hot keywords people are searching for on the web, and see how you can spin your book around that. All right. And I just want to pause right here too. Not only can you use that to come up with titles for your book you're already working on, but it can be ideas for new books to create. Because how my mind works is I have to shut it off. I have to focus, because I can always come up with an idea based on a hot topic or something that's trendy. All right. Now, just to take this sharp left real quick. I promise I'm gonna get back to the title thing. Because of what's going on with Kanye West, mental illness is taking a spike. Even though it has been spiking and it has been something that's been a hot topic, it's even more hot right now because of what's happening with Kanye West. All right. What happened with Jada Pinkett and Smith and Will Smith, the whole entanglement word. Like, if you are a romance novel creator, or you create erotica, or you create those types of books, why not create an ebook real quick on, call it Entanglement? It's so many different ideas, or so many different things that you can do. What are the hottest memes that are going on right now? Write a book about it. All right. Now let me get back to talking about the title. Now, when I wrote my book about Shark Tank, I wanted to capitalize off how hot the TV show was, and I wanted to capitalize off of the name Shark Tank and the keyword Shark Tank. So I named my book Conversations with Sharks. Now, in my subtitle, it was, I think it was called Closed Door Secrets from interviews from ABC, 2 of ABC's hit TV show Shark Tank members or something like that. All right. Now you see all of that I had got inside of my in my subtitle. Those were the keywords that people will punch in. Now the last book I released, which was a an anthology, right?
Mhm.
It was a collective of us who, you know, I got stories from friends and other writers to contribute a chapter. We talked about that in the previous podcast. And I needed a title for the book. And I said, okay, what's hot right now? All I did was look for what's trending right now, what's hot, right? And guess what I came up with? The TV show This Is Us.
Mhm.
I titled the book This Is Us, Stories of Triumph, Stories of Testimony to Overcome, right? So my subtitle, I had a dope title and then I had a nice subtitle that followed it up. So that's my next one.
I love it, man. I love it, and it was the brilliant of actually people are you're getting the people who are already searching for that topic, which is the
Yep.
whole thing. While you name it that, you are also getting people who are stumbling upon your book because they're looking at that topic.
Yep.
The most powerful thing that I like to say about it is you're using what's already moving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I would say my third point to titles is going back a little bit on my second point is making your title stand for something. Make it speak for your book. You know, so a lot of times if you do write first, because some people will write their story first and then try to figure out a title.
Right.
Make sure it correlates. And a lot of times you look at all that you've written, your title will jump out at you. Because that title should be that common theme or that common thread that you're talking about throughout the inner workings of your book. I'll just say this is kind of a pointer. Don't title it something that you're not talking about.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people do that. Because it's a hot title, that's one part you do it. But make sure, like Kelly was saying in his book, his anthology that he put together, you know, This Is Us. It was a gathering of people and the stories interconnected and it made sense.
Right.
Don't call it This Is Us, for example, and it ain't talking about us, it's just talking about you.
Right.
You know, sometimes so you have to be able to, a lot of times, make sure your title is a pointer in my point 3, that it is speaking, echoing what your book is actually saying.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to say the wrong thing on your cover, because that's going to be on your cover, that's going to be on your promos,
Right.
it's going to be on whatever you're doing. So making sure that it actually speaks to what you're doing. I've read people's book before, and I'm like, yeah, you mentioned it, but that wasn't really
what it was.
I wouldn't put that as a title of my book.
Yeah. Dope. Yep, I agree 100%. So yeah, if you're using, make sure your title fits your book. All right, my next one is when you're thinking about a title, think about, like you said, catching the eye of a reader and stopping them in their tracks if they're strolling on Amazon. So when I think of something like that, I think of controversial things. Like think of a controversial title. And a great way to get ideas for controversial titles, go to like Shade Room and look at the headlines. Like look for blogs, memes, and stuff like that with shocking headlines. All right. Or what, like back once again, what's trending? What's a hot topic? What's trending? And be controversial about it. You get what I'm saying? I just heard about who was it? I think it was Trump's niece, Donald Trump's niece. She wrote a book. She just came out with a book, I think last week or the week before. I don't know when she came out with the book, but she sold like 900 and some thousand copies in the first week. Like, and what was controversial about that? She was telling all of Trump's like crazy stories about Trump, if that makes sense. So think about things that are controversial when you think about giving your book a good title. Now, I know it's kind of hard to do that if you're writing a book about yourself or you're telling your type of story, but make it cool though. There's no way that you should just make it boring and call it the story of, your name or something like that. Come up with something creative. Come up with a piece of the story that you can name your book. Right?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, controversial sells, right?
Yep.
It really does, and that is the truth. You know, one of the people I would say the best-selling book in the world is the Bible, and there's so many controversial stories in there.
Yeah.
It's one of the most controversial books in the world.
Yeah.
With all the religions that's out there, right? And so it continues to sell, but it's continues to be rebranded. I would say my last point that I would say about picking a title is be educated on what your title is, because what I mean by that is, if you pick something that you don't really feel and it just sounds good, you have to believe in your title. That's my point.
Yeah.
Believe in the title of your book, because that's going to be the first thing people ask you.
Yep.
They're not going to even ask you about the content. They're going to say, what's the title? If they go search it, they're looking for the title.
Right.
And then, you know, if you're on interviews or you're on radio stations or any kind of media outlets where people are interviewing you, the first thing they're going to say, here's this author and it's the title of your book. This is the thing that I learned, and I want to put it inside of this point. People will identify you with your title as an author.
Yep.
They'll say, hey, Kelly Cole, the author of the best-selling book, Shark Tank, or Conversation with Sharks.
Yeah.
Or they'll say Oliver Manhandle. You get tied to that title.
Yep.
Right? And so they begin to identify you with this book. So it's just like your name almost.
Yeah.
Once you start to get named by that, you're kind of married to it. You can change it, you can come out with another book, but at the end of the day, you want to feel comfortable enough to say, yes, I wrote this.
Right.
And this is the title of what I call it. So being educated on it, being able to articulate the title and how you come about, because that's a big question from a PR standpoint, and you're going to get that question a million times, how you came up with the title of that book.
Yeah. So, all right, here's my last one, and then I want to give them a bonus idea. But here's my last one. If you need, like, think about, well, one of the things too I do to go look for ideas for titles, I go to Amazon and I go in my category and I look at the best-selling books in that category, and I look for ways that I can flip and twist the title, or just like Conversations with Sharks. That came from a friend of mine who wrote a book called Conversations with Millionaires, and all he did was interview millionaires, right? And so I was like, yo, that's dope. I can do Conversations with Sharks, right? That's one of the things. And I'm sure most of the people, if you haven't heard of this book called Think and Grow Rich, you should check out that book. But I've heard of Speak and Grow Rich. I've heard of Real Estate and Grow Rich. Like, there's so many different and grow rich. Not saying you should go that far, but I'm just trying to give you ideas on what to do. Like, go to Amazon, look in your category, and look at, some of the best-selling books and see in your category, and see if you can just come up with some ideas on creating a creative title or something controversial, or something that's going to fit what you're doing. All right. That's my last one. And then after you go, I got a tip, and I want to share with them something I did with one of my books.
No, man, I'm done. I have my.
All right, we lost Dr. Reid. So I guess I'll close it out and give you guys this quick tip that I was going to give you guys. One of the things I did with one of my books is I created a book called How to Turn One Product into 43 Streams of Passive Income. That was the name of the first book. And then the second book I just flipped the title and changed the packaging, and I turned it into how pastors can create 43 streams of passive income from a book. That's how I turned that book. So that's the tip. So now this is if you're writing as a marketer and you're looking for different lead magnets for your book and different streams. Like, you can flip your books and turn your books into multiple different products and services. So think about ways that you can repurpose a book and re-release it and redo it. That way you can channel a whole different niche and a whole different topic. All right. So with that being said, make sure you follow us on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you following us on Spotify. I think we got Doc back. Hold on 1 second. Let's see if we got him back. Are you back?
Yep.
Yep. I already gave him the tip, so you can come back. What was you saying? You got something else for him?
No, I was saying that I had dropped my last topic, and I was throwing an alley-oop back to you, and then we got disconnected.
Dope. But yeah, I already gave them the people the topic that were still watching. So I'm at the point, like, if you ain't got nothing else, I was giving them the rundown on how to follow us and stuff like that. You good?
I'm good.
All right, cool. But yeah, make sure y'all are sharing this podcast. Like I said, I get a lot of great feedback of people that saying they watch the podcast, that they're enjoying the content. Make sure you're sharing this. Make sure you're liking this up. And make sure you're following us and subscribing on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And make sure you just let us know. Follow us on social media as well. If you want to book us for a virtual event, you want coaching, shoot us an email, books-n-brothas@gmail.com. Any final words, bro, before we give them our quote?
You know, I would just say this one thing, too, that a lot of times while you're in a flow, just write stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you can find your title inside of just writing a list. Because I don't know if some people like me, but I'll just give you an example. There's some days where I have a really creative moment where I'm just like writing on stuff. I'm like, I got a minute and I'm writing 10 to 15 different things. I always tell people to write those titles down because when it gets time to name your book or get a chance to put something in there, you can always pull from something you already did on the day you were really feeling creative. Because sometimes when you get ready to do it, you're at a loss. But always writing something down or typing it out, you can actually help find or put some volume of your title content.
Dope. Yep. With that being said, you don't have to get it right.
You got to get it going.
All right, bro. See y'all next week. Thanks, bro. Love you, man.
Love you.
I love you.
I have a book in me. This is my friend, my brother.
Thank you, Kelly and Oliver.
I'm a multi-award winning best-selling author.
If you want to start a new business, I suggest you write the book on it.
God woke me up at 2:30 in the morning and I wrote a book.
Some of you got books already. Some of you got novels already.
The lead generator is the book.
You write a book, you leave a legacy to your children.
And I hope you guys listen to these guys so they know what they're talking about.